Mark Zonder of Warlord. Congratulations on the new album. How are you doing today?
Very good. Thank you very much. It's a brisk 72 degrees and the sun's out here in Los Angeles, so I can't complain.
No, you shouldn't. Um, how did you go about selecting the band members for this new version of Warlord?
Well, I learned, I mean, I knew it all along, but I kind of learned an interesting experience over the last few years about, especially at this stage in my career, if I'm going to put bands together and do things, I need to really go with guys that I know, that I trust, that are mature, that can communicate, just pros. So obviously Philip Bino always plays with me. There's a saying, if Mark's playing, Philip's playing. So that's kind of a no-brainer. I played on a couple of the Warlord albums already, did the live stuff when available. He's usually, a lot of times he's busy with Steve Vai, which is okay. But, we always seem to work it out. He's in all my bands, basically. Giles was a no-brainer for the singer because two reasons. He sang, he did the live stuff with us. He did a song on the Holy Empire, Kill Zone, because he had that more Halford style vocal. And him and Bill, honestly, were really, really good friends. He was better friends with Bill than I was, and I knew Bill for 30 or 40 years or whatever it was. Giles used to go to Florida, hang out with him for a couple of weeks, and they were really, really true friends. And Giles knew what the Warlord sound was going to be about. The whole big thing when we were going to do this is we needed to keep it 1984 Warlord. We weren't going to start playing blues jams. We weren't going to bring the electronic drums into it. It was supposed to be what it was supposed to be. So Giles was a no-brainer on that one. And then Jimmy Waldo playing the keys. I've worked with him a couple different things with the Graham Bonnet Band. He's in A through Z. Thing about Jimmy, and the same thing when they found Eric, the guitar player, it wasn't so much how great they were or if they had a big name. It was, do you understand the Warlord process? And Jimmy, as much as Jimmy's not like a neoclassical kind of player, he sat down, he listened, he knew exactly what the sounds were. He knew exactly what Bill was going for because he's a professional musician. He got it. When it came to Eric, the thing that struck us was two things. Number one, his attention to the detail. He went out and studied Bill's sound, and he has it down perfectly. And also, he went and dove really deep into Bill's playing and just the different nuances and knew what to do and what not to do and what would fit. The same thing with Giles. When Giles was writing some of the lyrics and melody lines, he knew that he wasn't going to all of a sudden go into I don't know, like a Bono from YouTube or U2 kind of sound. It's like he knew exactly what the Warlord sound was. And that was the most important thing. We had music that Bill and I had worked on. I had his tracks here in the computer. We had other ideas. We just needed to make sure it was right in that Warlord vein.
Got it. Tell me about the songwriting sessions. Like, how did these songs take shape?
Well, I had already on my computer because okay, when we played those shows in 2013 and 2014, Bill and I talked about, hey, let's do another record, but let's do it more in the Deliver Us vein. Shorter songs, just kick-ass rock songs, not the big epics, not the big parts and everything like that. But just because of his illness, we were never really able to get it going. He had sent me stuff, I'd worked on it, I'd sent it back to him, but it never really progressed because he got very sick and he just wasn't able to do it. I mean, I remember in what was it, 2002, possibly right around 2002, we were in New York and we were recording Rising Out of the Ashes, and he was sick then. So I had music that we'd worked on. Giles had a couple tapes that Bill had given him with different ideas. And it wasn't really songwriting. It was more of like putting together the different parts and seeing what worked. And Giles, Jimmy, and Eric did all the heavy lifting. I mean, Philip and I just kind of played the bass and played the drums. Those guys really deserve the credit. If it wasn't for Giles really, going to town and really pushing this thing through, it would have never happened. So he gets a lot of credit. Eric gets a lot of credit. Jimmy gets a lot of credit. Like I said, Philip and I played the drums and the bass. But that's how they kind of got put together. And then when we had them in song form, we kind of really sat back and just made sure that it worked. Go back in 1984, and if you heard this, what would you say? And it was right in line with everything.
You've mentioned Giles several times. As a as a new voice for Warlord, what do you think he brings to the performance?
Passion, understanding, and really, another thing that I've kind of learned along the ways was, you don't have to have the greatest singer in the world. Yes, Dio would have sounded great with Warlord. Okay, I mean, but then again, Dio would have sounded good with my daughter's band, so that doesn't count. Um, it's the passion. He gets Warlord, and that's really important in this band. Other bands I've played in, there's not so much of a philosophy and an ideology per se. It's just a good band, and hey, we're rocking out, and everybody can come in and play their parts. But this one was more about that. Plus, he not that I owed Giles anything, but the real story to those gigs, those very first gigs that we played in Greece in 2013, we had another singer lined up. Okay. And he was supposed to be sending us a song or two every month leading up to that, just so we made sure he had the songs taken care of. And we got about a month away, and Bill and I looked at it. Well, we didn't look at each other. We talked to each other and said, "This guy's not happening, is he? This is getting like way late in the game, and he doesn't seem to be picking up the pace." So Bill got on the phone with Giles and just very last minute said, "Hey, can you fill in?" And I don't know, to learn 17 songs. I mean, he's a Warlord fan, so he probably could sing them already, but he just kind of stepped in and really saved it. And without that, you never know if we would have played any gigs whatsoever. If that could have killed the band right there. And you know how people are. Oh, Warlord's going to play, Warlord's going to play, and all of a sudden we cancel. It's going to be a little rough to get another gig. Yeah. So he really saved the day. But the funny story, and I keep telling this because I love busting his balls on this one. The first thing we played with, though, before the Greek stuff was Kit. Gotta keep it true. It's like 3,000 people, whatever, and we're doing sound check, and the vendors are just setting up. There's just people, how it is before a gig and stuff like that. We get done with sound check, and Giles comes off, and he says to me with a straight face, he goes, "Wow, that was the most people I've ever played in front of." And I went, "You got to be kidding, right?" So he had never played in front of a lot of people. He had never really played in front of too many people. So he did a great job, but it was kind of funny. We just kind of threw him right in there, and he did fine. He did great. So yeah, as far as it goes, plus he is like, if I had to say if there was a third and fourth Warlord members, it would go probably Giles and then Philip, as far as it goes, just because they've been around, they've done the stuff, they've sacrificed, because this isn't a big money gig, they're doing it for the love of the music. And I know Philip makes a lot more when he goes out with other artists, but he does it for the love of the music. And that was really important. I didn't want to run into a situation where it's all about money with some guy and then he's not going to do it. Yeah. So it's always good to do with friends, people that you can trust, that are going to, here we are 8 months out and everybody's learning songs already. I mean, I got my 17 down, but everybody else is like into it. So that's important too. Just professional.
Sounds good. What is the meaning of Free Spirit Soar?
Well, there was a song that Bill just just a working title, and it kind of tied into Bill's spirit, and the record's for him, and it's just kind of about him as far as it goes.
Which brings me to my next question. Bill Tsamis, obviously, who many claim was the architect of the Warlord sound, passed away in 2021.
Yeah.
What was he like to work with, and what memories do you have left of him?
And I know a lot of people can't say this, but in all the years that I worked with Bill, and we lived together back in Warlord Manor, we had the band warehouse, and where it was down and dirty with the cockroaches and no money, and a homemade shower in the bathroom with a hose that went up and over, and it leaked all over the floor. Seriously, it was, picture, LA, North Hollywood. It's like 105 during the summertime. We're upstairs, so heat rises, so it's hotter. And we really have a window about the size of my monitor here, and that's it, and no air conditioning. My cymbals would get so hot that you couldn't touch them. But we just loved playing. And I even remember before that, Bill and I in San Jose, California, in a little kind of like a garage warehouse where they do auto mechanics, but we rented it just to play. Just Bill and I. Bill's over there in his Kiss boots, about 6'7". And we're playing a lot of those same songs back then, just jamming. Him and I, no vocalist, no bass player, no keyboard player. his Marshall on 10 and me just beating the hell out of the drums. And we played for hours and hours. Those are always great memories. The other one that kind of encapsulates it on the other side is we were playing the show in Greece, in Athens. And me and Bill are sitting backstage. He's got his guitar, he's warming up. I've got my legs crossed with the drumsticks on my shoe kind of thing. And we're just kind of warming up. And the opening band's playing, and all you hear over the top is Warlord, Warlord. And we kind of looked at each other, and it was twofold. It was number one, oh wow, this is awesome. This is like, okay, the dreams do come true. And then the other one was kind of a smirk, like, what the hell took everybody so long? You know, why couldn't we do this when we were 25? You know what I mean? But it was those were great memories. You know, we both it all kind of came full circle, I guess you could say.
Definitely. Did Bill leave any instructions as to how to proceed before he passed away?
Absolutely. I'm not sure if you saw the article that was put out from Chris Papadakis, I think is his name, in Greece. Part of what really spurred this on was when Bill first passed away, my first initial reaction was, nah, we're done. It's over. Goodbye. I was getting hit up with the tribute thing and the this, that. No, 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 no. It just can't go on. And then, you know, obviously as time goes on, it's different because obviously when it first happens, what was I supposed to say? Hey guys, about a week and a half, we're going to go out and play and we got a new record coming out. That wasn't going to work. You know, no, you know, I was grieving. It was like, oh, wow. You know, as much as it's sad that Bill passed away, and obviously it is, there's also that thought, you know, unfortunately, that in my head, like, okay, it's over. As long as he was alive, there was a chance we'd go do something, even though I know he was very sick. And he was on a total decline. It's not like he got sick and he got better. It was one of those things, it was just, you could see it, you know. When we played that show, the Chania Festival, I guess is what it's called in Crete, you could tell he did everything he could just to get up onto that stage. It was really rough. But yeah, what was the original? I know I got sidetracked on that question.
Memories that you have left of him, you know.
Yeah, that was it. And just, you know, oh, did he leave instructions? Yes.
That's right.
About 2 years later, Giles sends me these emails and texts. And the whole time Bill was sick, he did tell me flat out, he goes, Mark, if you want to go play, because he knew I wanted to go play. If you want to go play, just get a guitar player. I'm totally good with it. Anybody can play this stuff. It's not that complicated. Just go get a guitar player and keep my music alive. Keep it out there. Because if you guys don't, it's going to die. And then Giles sent me these other two emails that Bill sent him before he passed. And it wasn't like the day before he passed. It was back a little bit. And he said flat out, he goes, you know, you guys got some of the material there. Please put it out, push forward with it. Because if you guys don't, again, whether it's the recorded material that he had and or the playing live, he goes, if we didn't do it, no one else was going to do it. And it really came down to me. Because anybody else who does it, it's not really Warlord per se.
What would you say was the biggest challenge in getting it going again under the circumstances?
There was no challenge because the players were lined up. It took us a little bit for the guitar thing. We went through a couple guitar players that are like, quote, big. You see, the minute this happened, we got all kinds of people saying, oh, can I play? Can I play? Can I play? You know, that wanted to play the guitar part. And we had to sit there and kind of go through it. We sent them track without the guitar on it and, you know, play to this and those kind of things. And we had like pretty high profile, you know. I mean, Richie Blackmore didn't call. Okay, I'll tell you that right now. He didn't call. But guys that you'd go like, okay, I know who that is. And we'd send him the track and then we wouldn't hear a month would go by. It's like, what happened? And I don't know how Giles came across Eric, but he did. And he got right to it. And the biggest, I'd have to say that the most negative part of it all is, and I know it shouldn't bother anybody, but when you hear the negative comments, you know, and people are saying, oh, how dare you, you're going to ruin the legacy and blah, 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 you know, like that kind of, or the funniest part, and we sit around and just crack up. Oh, Zonder's doing that for the cash. Cash? What cash? I mean, seriously? You know, Warlord, I'm still owed I'm not owed, but I borrowed $5,000 years ago to do the Cannons of Destruction because we had no money. Money, that's what's cracks me up. Oh yeah, Zonder's doing this for the cash. We're fortunate enough that everybody has like their own recording kind of setups. So that was easy. We didn't run into a money problem. High Roller came to us and they've been great to us, the label, and they wanted to do it. And we said, okay, great. I don't think we would have done it unless there was a label, because I don't say what's the point, but you know how difficult that is when you do something on your own as compared to having a label put it out there. But just the negative thing, hey, if you're not into it, don't come to the show, don't buy the record. But what gives you the right to open your mouth and spread that crap? I joke with Giles and I say, when I was a kid, Journey was my favorite band before Steve Perry joined the band. I loved Journey, the instrumentals and just all the playing. I ripped off Ainsley Dunbar. I'd sit there with the turntable and just steal all his parts. I mean, would I have ever thought as a fan of Journey that when they got Steve Perry in the band, that I would write Herbie Herbert, the manager, a letter saying, how dare you ruin my favorite band by bringing in Steve Perry, and you're going to ruin the legacy of the band, blah, blah. It's like, if you're not into it, when I first put that Journey record on with Steve Perry, I was like a little skeptical. And obviously it turned out to be great. Do I like it better than the first three? No, I'm not really into Love and Touch and Squeezing and like the blues stuff. But I'm not going to sit here and like make negative comments about it. If I didn't like it, I wouldn't put it on. It's as simple as that. So, but that is the world we live in.
Some people dwell on that. Definitely.
Yeah. And they weren't there. They weren't there. They didn't go through everything that Bill and I went through. I just find it funny that people have to comment, and you can think whatever you want, but when you get out there and you start spreading, and it's like a room, like it's just why are you doing that? What do you think, the girls are going to call you up now because you're so cool and you made a stand, and the legacy of Warlord? I mean, what's to be gained? What's the end game? Oh man, I saw your post. I'm sorry, we're going to cancel the record and cancel the tour. I mean, people, what can you say?
Let's move on to brighter things.
Okay. Hey, you asked what the hard part of it was, so.
And you gave it back.
Yeah.
Tell me about these new songs.
A few of them Bill and I worked on, already. So I had a kind of a good idea of what was going on with the songs. Truthfully, I didn't go back and listen to what I had done. Once these guys had kind of put them together and like, okay, here's the format, these are our ideas, I just kind of went at it like new Warlord stuff and just approached it that way. I didn't want to get trapped into like what I played before for whatever reason, because they did get changed around a little bit compared to where me and Bill were, back then, as far as it goes. And, different things were moved around. We had to take his guitar parts and make them fit, tempo wise and different things like that. So, they're good. They're Warlord, would I have rather done this record with Bill? Of course, that's of course I would, but it's a good replacement. It has the Warlord vibe to it. That's what's more important to me.
What plans do you have when it comes to like touring or making any live appearances at this point?
We're all over it. We're dying to go play live. We already have shows booked at the end of August into September. I think it's France, Greece, Germany, but mostly at this point, like festivals and stuff like that. There's some stuff already booking out for 2025. I think we've discussed this. Our biggest thing is getting out there. The proof is in the pudding. We're going to get out there. It's going to be unbelievably tight. We'll bring a little youthful into it. The two guitar players are a lot younger than I am. I think I could probably be their dad, if not their grandfather, possibly. But it's going to be the music note for note. We're doing exactly what we did when Bill, when we played live with Bill. There's no variation. There's no jams. Eric's not going to have a guitar solo. Jimmy's not going to have a keyboard solo. If you close your eyes, it's going to be Warlord, and it's going to be ridiculously tight. Like I said, we're 8-7 months out right now, and everybody's already on it, and these aren't the most difficult songs to learn either.
Whenever a legendary band like yourself releases a new album, it is always being compared to your classic catalog. How do you compare the new album to what you did in the past?
Now I could give you the company line and give you the, oh, it's great and it stands up with all the rest of them, but I'd be lying through my teeth, and it's obvious because Bill wasn't there. It's a tribute to Bill, so it's very tough, and I don't think I'm taking like the easy way out. Um, it's tough to compare that to Deliver Us. You know, here it is, me and Bill, you know, starving to death in an 8-track studio with 2 bass drums and 1 bass guitar going down to 1 channel. The engineer sitting over there smoking crack cocaine cigarettes the whole session, getting ridiculed by Stuart Copeland because Stuart Copeland was friends with the engineer and he'd stop by, you know, talking 1983 and the whole Thunderchild and Destroyer thing. He had a good time with that. He was definitely a funny, ridiculing guy. It's tough to compare that to, you know, and we're all living together and we're all rehearsing together and we're doing that as compared to this day and age. You know, we're on the computer, everybody's just sending files. Eric's in Germany, he's here, he's there. No one, you know, I've never even met him, talked to him several times, but it's just different. It's more of a tribute to Bill than, wow, check out my new band Warlord, you know, and here's our Deliver Us thing. It's just different. It's different. It's hard to compare.
Yeah. Even in the past, why were there always so many years in between the releases?
I would say you have to ask Bill about that, but it could be difficult.
That option's not available.
Yeah, unfortunately, or if it is, it'll be a shock to us all. What happened was, you know, we started doing this. There was no money, which is fine, but after we couldn't get a singer, so it almost, not that it seemed pointless, but it was, you know, we talked to them all back then. Mark Bowles, you know, did an amazing version of Elvis's Suspicious Eyes that he brought in on a demo. Unbelievable. I think you can even find it on the internet. Jeff Scott Soto, Neil Turbin. I mean, we talked to a lot of guys, you know. Everybody was basically looking for money, which we didn't have. Metal Blade was just starting up. And what happened when the band, quote, broke up, Bill kind of just, he was tired of just going around and around in circles. You know, we were writing these great songs, couldn't find a singer, and he kind of just faded away and it stopped. And he, you know, moved out of Warlord Manor, and, you know, and he went on his way. And I mean, we still stayed in touch and stuff, but and I told him, you know, over and over again, if you ever do anything, I don't care if it's instrumental, whatever it is, let me know. I'm always up for it. And I think the time just rolled by, and we were able to, on Rising Out of the Ashes, I talked to Joachim Cons, and we became friends. And Bill knew him from Hammerfall. And so when we did, then Bill got kind of excited, like, oh, we got a singer. And so we did Rising Out of the Ashes, and then Bill was sick then. Remember, I said when he came to New York and we did that record, he had the satchel of all the pills that he had to take for his gastro situation. And that's really what it was. He wasn't like I was 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This is what I'm doing. We're going. He was having the health problems, and it just couldn't move that quickly. And that's why the time between the records. And then, you know, when we do, you know, the Holy Empire, I think it was really his decision. Like, okay, it's time to record and do a record. You know, can you go find us a deal? You know, that kind of thing. So that's why it was. It was for no other reason but that.
That makes sense. Okay, I'm gonna throw some names at you. Tell me what comes to mind. Focus on any unknown facts, if possible. So let's begin with Deliver Us.
Classic. I don't know what to say. It just goes to the strength of Bill that every single song is different. In a Warlord catalog, basically, every single song is so different. They just don't sound the same. A lot of bands, and I've played in a few of these, seem to have similar themes at times, or just Bill was very original. I would say groundbreaking and original. Not the greatest quality, mind you, but it very original. I think even to this day, there's a lot of bands that came after Warlord that tried to kind of cop that feel. cop that sound. I always look at Warlord, and probably because I was in the middle of it, as being like really pure. It was just, it was young. It was kind of not wild, but it was that youthful energy. We're gonna set the world on fire. We're gonna be the next big thing, kind of thing. Just in that excitement. And that's what got you going every morning when you woke up.
Definitely. And the cannons of destructions have begun.
Yeesh. It's funny because people love that record, and I'm not taking it away from it, but from my side of things, two things. To me, the best thing about that record are the pictures that my brother took. So I was able to get him into the fold. That whole Cannons of Destruction, it was rough. We went into a studio, no money. We knew because we were going to do the video, there's no way we are going to record that live. We had like no budget, none. So when we went to do the thing, we're setting up in Perkins Palace, this big place. We're not going to be able to record. And, the true story behind that video is we had the place for a day. We load in the morning. We figure, okay, cool. We're going to shoot it 3 or 4 times from the front. Then we'll take the side shots. Then we'll take the shot of Mark. Then we'll just shoot the singer only. That video is done in one take. That's it. That's why you don't see the drums very often. That's why every shot is either this side or this side. So when it came to that recording, that we did, the studio was kind of funky. And when we go to master the record, I think it was with Eddie Schreier over at Capitol or wherever he was at the time. He goes, Mark, come here, look at this. And he's showing me the metering, and it's out of phase. The record is out of phase. And it's not like today where you have all these tools, click the button, oh, we're in phase now. It's not like that. It's not a digital signal. It was on tape. I'm not overly in love with that record. I know some people, people love it. I just look at it as, to me, that was just a quick thing to do for the video, but Metal Blade put it out, so it was okay. Hey, people love it. All that matters is more, I'm sure with that, more people heard the band, and that's all that matters.
That's definitely true.
Yeah.
Rising out of ashes.
I thought that was going to be the home run for the simple fact of, okay, Warlord struggled all these years, no singer, no singer, no singer. Woo, we got a singer that everybody knows. Big band. I mean, Hammerfall is a big band. I mean, they went on to be much bigger, but they were like a big band. Joachim was completely professional, just pro. He came from Sweden to whatchamacallit, New York, in my house there. And we were in the basement in the studio, and he was in the back bedroom, that typical setup. And I thought he was great. But what just amazes me about that record is how much like criticism we got. I don't know if there was an anti-Hammerfall backlash. I don't know if the true Warlord fans couldn't accept Joachim because he was, he's in a bigger band, and I'm sure some people thought that Warlord was much big, much better, and the true metal and all that crap that goes along with it. But I was just shocked at the blowback, because I don't think anybody, if they didn't know the band, if you listen to that, you can't. What are you gonna? You can't tell me that he was bad. You can't tell me that he.
I love that.
Or, yeah, Invaders. Actually, we're going to be doing Invaders live. Sons of a Dream. Battle of the Living Dead. I don't know. I thought that was one of the first records that we did that had pretty good production. Yeah, I mean, it's up there in my book, but I'm just shocked at what happened with Joachim. I thought we were going to go to the promised land after that. I thought everything was going to start happening and be cool, and he'd work it into his schedule. But no, there was a lot of flack on that one. I don't know why.
Yeah. The Holy Empire.
That, I think, was one of the first. That was when you hear songs like Father and a couple of the other ones. It that almost encapsulates Warlord. You got Killzone, which is like throwback to the 80s kind of thing. We started to get a little bit more movie soundtracky kind of thing a little bit with certain songs, but it also is one of those ones where I think there's a little bit more room for the different style playing, and it took more of a, I don't know, songs like Glory and Father I thought were really, really, really good, kind of, I don't want to say commercial, but commercial songs, especially Father. I mean, I don't understand why that's just like, that's such a great song, and it's so personal, and it's so I don't know, so easy to listen to. To me, it just sounds great. Uh, but no, that was one where Bill was working with Rick Anderson, and he was doing the vocals with him. And I remember Bill recording, we got him Cubase, to record on and stuff, and he didn't really know how to use it. And there was some experiment going on there, but no, it worked out. Everything worked out good. I like that album. That's a really good album. Again, it's like no one wanted it, so it was, I never understood. We got actually Rising Out of the Ashes with Joachim. Metal Blade turned it down. I'll never forget it. I was dealing with the European office. I wasn't dealing with Brian. And I sent him the demo of the 3 songs. Hadn't heard anything, didn't hear anything, didn't hear anything, didn't hear anything. Got in touch with, I think it was an email, and I got a one line email that says, not interested. And we never even got to, you can't even say, oh yeah, Warlord wanted too much money. We didn't care about the money. We just wanted to put the frickin' record out. Not interested.
Spammer.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. Kind of funny.
The Hunt for Damien.
That was Bill's idea, and that was almost, I wasn't a big fan. It was almost kind of like something to put out there in between the records that we were supposed to be doing that really kind of never came to be. I mean, some say it's a collector's item. That was all Bill's idea. Kind of made sense, the whole hunting for the singer kind of thing. And, and Nicholas, sang them all, as I'm pretty sure. But yeah, that one I wasn't overly excited about that one. And I think we just basically used old tracks and put his vocal on. I mean, this was a while ago. I don't necessarily remember sitting down and re-recording everything. I think we might have just used some of the older stuff maybe, and just have him sing on the top of it. But yeah, I don't know. Call it a collector's item, maybe. I don't know. Not my favorite.
Finally, why do you think it is important to you to keep Warlord going for decades now? 4 decades plus, actually.
It's a really simple answer. Because I love it and I like it. That's it. If I didn't love it and if I didn't like it, I wouldn't do it. It really truly is. I guess you can say that for most bands that I'm in. It's for the love of the music. It really is. It's a creative outlet, and it goes along those lines. If people want to hear it, well, we're going to play it. If we go out and play live and 27 people show up, we're not booking the tour. You know what I mean? No, it's the people have spoken. We're good. We don't need any more of this. Okay, I'm good with that. If we put the record out and people say it's horrible, go away, we don't want to. I'm talking the majority of the people. I'm not talking the six. The majority, then we won't. You have to have an audience. But the reason I do it though is simply because I love playing those songs. I mean, when I sit in that other room over there and I'm practicing, Black Mass, my mind's thinking about like when me and Bill were playing and, stuff like that. And just the love of that music and how it fills me, and it's been in me for 40 years or whatever it's been. And it's just kind of part of me. I really am not sure if I can say that about other bands per se, if that makes any sense. It's not taking away anything from any other band, but Warlord was always that special coulda, shoulda, woulda. And what's really interesting, and a lot of musicians maybe can relate to this, in all the years with Bill, we never had one disagreement, not one. In a very modern sense, he stayed in his lane and I stayed in my lane. And I never went to Bill with, hey, check out these lyrics, Bill, check out these ideas for songs. No, that was his domain. And by the same token, he never told me what to play ever. Never even suggested what to play. And I handled the business and he kept out of it. So, we never had any kind of disagreement per se. It's just the health got in the way. His health got in the way. That's really what the problem was.
It's very unfortunate. Well,
Yep.
Thank you for speaking with me and good luck with the new album.
Sounds good. I really appreciate it. If anything comes up, you have a question about something or something's not clear, just get in touch with me and I'll answer whatever you want.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Take care. I appreciate your time.